Route 1, just 10 miles north of the town of Rockingham. It's the location for North Carolina Motor Speedway. Side of today's Busch Grand National Series AC-Delco 200. Hello everyone, I'm Jerry Podge, and what a race we had for you today. It's the final Speedway stop of the year for the Busch Grand National Tour, and the championship could be decided today. Chuck Bown has to finish no worse than 2 spots from the closest pursuer, Jimmy Hensley. Now if he finishes in front of Hensley today, it's all over, and Chuck Bown will be the 1990 Series champion. But that may not be an easy task, Ned Jarrett, for Chuck Bown to accomplish here on the 1 mile super speedway.
No, it won't be, Jerry, because the last 7 races, Bown has only finished in front of Hensley on 1 occasion. In fact, you have to go back to August to find a top 10 finish for Chuck Bown, and certainly the super speedways has not been his long suit this year, so he does have his work cut out for him. Now, even as exciting as the championship battle is, there'll be some good racing here this afternoon. Mark Martin in a Ford starting in 3rd place. He very seldom qualifies that far up, and he's my pick to go to the front pretty early.
It would surprise no one if Mark Martin were to win this race today, but one of the biggest surprises came in qualifying a couple of days ago. 19-year-old open wheel sensation Jeff Gordon from Pittsburgh, Indiana. You know him from watching ESPN's midget and sprint car coverage. He celebrated many times on Saturday Night Thunder. He went to the Buck Baker Driving School here just a month ago at North Carolina Motor Speedway, and he planked that car on the front row in his first ever NASCAR stock car start. He's standing by with our Benny Parsons.
Jerry, I'm like everyone else. I watched this kid on Saturday Night Thunder with those 950-pound midgets winning racing in victory lane, but yet when he come to stock car racing, I said, we'll bring him down a peg or two. Jeff Gordon, that's me eating my words. What a great run.
You know, the guys had the car working so good. We just put new tires on, that thing stuck, and I just put her to the floor. And you know, I owe a lot to Ray Everham, Outback Steakhouse, and Hugh Carney for giving me this opportunity.
But Jeff, it's not supposed to be this easy.
It wasn't easy. You know, we've been practicing quite a bit. And you know, we went to Charlotte, had bad luck there, worked really hard last week, get the car ready, came here, and you know, we really weren't that fast until the last practice session. We really found something, and went out there for qualifying. The thing was just great.
And Jerry, Dave Mater, he's going to try a Winston Cup career next year, about 15 races. He got fired this week from the Busch Grand National ride because he's going to run Winston Cup, but look at him, on the pole, already trying to open some eyes for 1991.
And indeed he has, Benny Parsons. Dave Mater becomes the 17th different pole winner for 1990 in the Busch Grand National Series. Still looking for that win number 1 here, and hopefully it'll come at Rockingham today. The AC-Delco 200 coming your way from Rockingham, North Carolina, North Carolina Motor Speedway. Today's Speedway coverage brought to you by Quaker State. The Big Q is One Tough Motor Oil. By Suzuki, everyday vehicles that aren't. And by Bud Light, everything else is just a light. We'll be back with the starting lineup and the opening laps of the AC-Delco 200 after this message from our sponsor.
There's something elemental in us all, a basic need to seek out for ourselves a quiet place. Well, Oshkosh Men's Sportswear is made specifically for that search. Clothing that brings a man closer to himself and the earth. Rugged, comfortable, enduring. Find yourself in Oshkosh, exclusively at Sears.
Field beginning to roll at North Carolina Motor Speedway. A 1 mile asphalt oval here. Of course, the pole time 25.44 seconds, 143.915 miles per hour. Race length 197 laps. That's 200 miles. The field separation 6.6 miles per hour. The diehard starting grid here at the Rock, North Carolina Motor Speedway. Of course, that front row, 35-year-old Dave Mater picking up his first ever pole, and the open wheel sensation making that first start, 19-year-old Jeff Gordon. And Ned Jarrett, row 2, the man you talked about, Mark Martin, starting inside of Bobby Labonte.
Well, I think that Ford can be strong here this afternoon. Of course, Bobby Labonte has run exceptionally good on the super speedways this year. We see Darrell Waltrip starting there in the 7th position. There's Jimmy Hensley, the fellow who's trying to chase down Chuck Bown for the point championship. Hensley starting 8th.
Houghton row back row 5. Dale Jarrett has won twice this year. He will start in the 10th spot. You see Chuck Bown, our current point leader, starting inside of row 8 in the car number 63. He must finish in front of Hensley or close to him. Dale Earnhardt, row 9, the 4-time winner, and Morgan Shepherd of Houghton, row 9.
And Morgan Shepherd driving a Ford, so we have 2 Fords in the field. Normally we only have Mark Martin, but Shepherd has high hopes for his Ford this afternoon. We see the pole setter for the 500-miler here, Ken Schrader, back in the field. 5-time national champion Jack Ingram starting back there in the row 11.
And who could forget Jeff Burton, the car number 12 who wanted to ride up at Martinsville on ESPN's coverage. Rick Mast, a winner this year. And, of course, Ward Burton there, rookie driver, impressive at Charlotte.
And we saw Patty Moise and Elton Sawyer starting side by side. They're to be married in less than a month.
Husband and wife to be. You take a look at our very potent starting field here in the Die Hard starting grid. 40 drivers at the start this field. Remember, one driver, Joe Nemechek, had a problem yesterday, Ned, in the final practice session. You look at some of the drivers who missed the field. 49 cars on hand to attempt to qualify, but Nemechek's car erupting in flame yesterday. He destroyed the car, had to be pulled by the car. An act of valor by Ward Burton to pull him out of the burning race car, but Nemechek will miss the field today as we get set for the green flag here. The AC-Delco 200 coming your way on ESPN. Lap number 1. And Dave Mader wastes no time in taking the point.
The inside groove is the preferred groove, especially in turns 1 and 2. And we see that Mark Martin has already gotten up to second place.
Mader in a Buick out of turn 4. Car number 67, that's Jeff Gordon. Relative inexperience on the 1-mile track. Not surprised at all to see him slide back a little bit as now some of the other drivers begin to make a move. There is Bobby Labonte moving inside of Jack Sprague.
One thing Gordon wants to do is get out of that high groove, Jerry. That's not the place to be, especially early in the race.
Bobby Labonte, Sprague, then comes Gordon. Veteran 3-time Winston Cup champion Darrell Waltrip in the car number 17 there, the Superflow Chevrolet. Right behind the youngster, Jeff Gordon. There is Chuck Bown, our point leader, car number 63. Of course, Dale Jarrett to the right of him, and Earnhardt now making a move inside of Dale Jarrett.
Jarrett got caught on the high side. His Nestor's Crunch car just don't seem to work down on the inside. Here comes Harry Gant trying to move around it. No surprise to see Earnhardt trying to move up through the field.
Dale Earnhardt, 4-time winner
there's trouble here on the front straightaway. A car looks like it's lost an engine. Tommy Houston in the Rosie Store Buick. A lot of smoke coming from that car. He got it on the high side of the racetrack going into the turn, out of the groove, but the caution is out.
Tough break for Tommy Houston, veteran driver, 45 years of age from Hickory, North Carolina. And the caution being waved in the start-finish line. The race is back, and Dave Mader will lead the charge at lap 4. Mark Martin in second place, Bobby Labonte third, but a tough break for Tommy Houston. They made an announcement this morning that Houston would continue with this sponsorship in 1991, and certainly he would like to have impressed some of the sponsor people here today with a better run. But a tough break for Tommy Houston. We're under caution for the first time today at the North Carolina Motorist Speedway. Dave Mader holds on to the lead. Don't go away. We'll be back.
Don't stop short of the peak, 'cause second best won't do. There's a pride in peak performance.
Take more than 650 horsepower, wide open, for 500 miles. You need maximum protection to cool it.
I want the maximum going for me. That's why I've got Peak on my car and in my car every time.
Don't stop short of the peak. No, don't stop short of the peak.
No family of vehicles sold in America goes farther on a gallon of gas than Suzuki. Suzuki. Everyday vehicles that aren't.
Okay, Harry, grab the bud, and I think we're out of here.
Right.
I want to drink your bud.
Hi, I'm Harry.
So am I.
Well, there you are.
You are not gonna believe this.
This Halloween, replenish your Bud supply. Pick up Budweiser, Bud Light, and Bud Dry.
What's your butt type?
The stakes are high when top candidates roll for Bowler of the Year honor. The Lady Ebonite Classic, Thursday night at 10 Eastern on ESPN.
Under the first caution flag of the day here at North Carolina Motor Speedway, Pete Babb atop the flag stand, along with Carl Simmons, and the top 10 early on here. Mater showing the way. Martin, Labonte, Sprague, Jeff Gordon still hanging in the top 5, 6 through 10. Darrell Waltrip, Robert Presley, Davey Allison, Dave Resendez, and Tommy Ellis. 7 laps of the 197 completed. And again, our apologies to Tommy Houston. We are told that now he may have had an oil line come loose on that Don Kowalski prepared engine. So our apologies to Don Kowalski, and possibly Houston will get that car repaired and get back out here and gain some points. Getting ready to go back to green flag racing here. Safety car is pulled away, and Dave Mater will try to hold off the charge of Martin Martin. Martin makes a move on the inside. They're 3 wide, headed to turn 1.
And Bobby Labonte is the fellow that comes out with the lead.
Tremendous move, Ned. Labonte and Martin Martin splitting Mater on the restart. Now Mater's car really coming back up to speed, but he is in 3rd spot. Speed here for a lap at over 142 miles an hour. The qualifying speed almost 144. They will run what, Ned, on the straightaways over almost 150?
Here, let's take a look at the restart again and see Tommy Ellis way down on the inside in the car number 99, the Goo Goo Clusters Buick. Boy, he was off to a good start. See Mark Martin pulling on the inside of Mater, and there's trouble up in turn 4.
Jimmy Hensley's car really nearly coming around. He has saved the car, and he brings the car down pit road. Now, Hensley's car was getting very loose up in turn 2 a moment ago. In the restart, cars beginning to pass Hensley, and now no caution flag. Hensley's on pit road.
Well, this could be a costly situation for him in his bid to try to win the Busch Grand National Championship. He pulls in the crew. Apparently, the window net had come down, Jared, come loose, and so they fastened in. He goes a lap down as the leaders go by on the outside as he exits pit road.
Now, Hensley had a similar problem a week or so ago up in New Hampshire. The window net had come down on the car, and he would have had a better run, and he not had to drive with one hand, with the other hand holding the window net up. So a costly mistake in Hensley's car. Now back up to speed, but he has lost a lap. They are chasing a number of cars up front. Of course, Bobby Labonte showing the way, and they're really battling. Jeff Gordon, the car number 67, trying to hold off the charge of Robert Presley. Dave Resendez in the car number 79. Presley's the 59 car. Chuck Bown is showing well here early on in the car number 63. There he rides. Earnhardt now trying to work over the current Busch Series point leader.
But Bound getting through the corners well and pulls away from Earnhardt. Robert Presley got a little loose in the car number 59, the Alliance Trucking Oldsmobile. That's Bound in the red Nescafe Coffee sponsored Pontiac number 63. A little smoke coming from some tires there, Jerry, as they go hard into the turns. We'll see that here at the North Carolina Motor Speedway. A lot of pressure on the tires in the turns.
See Dale Earnhardt on the right of your screen. He won the Busch Series race here in the spring. After Dale Jarrett spun with 1 lap to go, coming in contact with a slower car, it would have been a race between he and Jarrett, picking up his 4th win.
Jeremy Hensley back in the pits again, so his championship hopes are going down the drain in a hurry here.
Let's go down to the pits and Benny Parsons.
Jerry, Jimmy Hensley came in because of a win in that problem, and evidently he also has a flat tire. He signaled the crew a flat tire. They don't know which one it is. Bobby King made the decision 4 tires. Let's see if they are going to change 4 tires, if they found the problem. They're having a lot of trouble on the right rear. And they decided just to change the right side. We don't know if he's found the flat tire or not. We'll have to check with Bobby King.
Well, Benny, according to my calculations, he is 3 laps down now, I believe. He was 1 lap down earlier, and I think he lost 2 laps. We'll check scoring in a moment, but I think he lost 2 laps on this exchange.
Well, if the race were to end right now, it would be over, and Chuck Bown will be the 1990 Busch Series champion. But it's a long afternoon here for Busch Racing. Remember, 197 laps to come your way. Chuck Bown running very, very well, and he has struggled, as we talked about at the top of the show, on the super speedways.
Well, Hensley's back in the pits again. He was only 2 laps down. He'll go 3 laps down now at least as we watch this battle between Tommy Ellis who has just moved around the Jeff Gordon car. So Ellis on the march. In fact, Ellis thought he had a shot at winning the pole here, Jerry. He was very disappointed that he didn't, because he was the fastest car, according to everybody's unofficial stopwatch in practice. But he didn't win the pole. In fact, he started back in 12th place, now trying to march towards the front.
Well, Tommy Ellis, we mentioned, is leaving that ride for this year and will take over the car that sat on the pole here, Ned. He was going to drive for that Speedway Motorsports Buick next year for Lewis Cooper. That was announced this weekend. Tommy Ellis will be the driver of note for 1991. But right behind Ellis, we're watching the youngster getting a lot of experience, Ned Jarrett, is Jeff Gordon. Now, take a look at the line that Gordon is running. Some of the drivers talking about Gordon was running the track like an open wheel car, going way deep in the corner before he was turning the wheel.
Well, probably the force of habit, Jared, as many years as he has been driving the open wheel sprint cars, and those cars, you sort of throw them into the turns, the lighter weight, and of course he has run a lot of dirt as well. Now these cars, you don't drive them quite as deep as you would those cars, so it looks like he's adjusting pretty good now.
Jeff Gordon holding his own, impressing so many people here, not only in qualifying, but in practice, and now holding his own here in the early part of the AC-Delco 200. There's Darrell Waltrip on the left of your screen. Darrell Waltrip now driving his own Busch Series car. That's the car that sat on the pole at Darlington early in the year with Greg Sachs. Battle heating up back here. That's Dale Jarrett now making a move. The Nestle's Crunch Pontiac trying to slide beneath the Ford Thunderbird of Morgan Shepherd. The Texas Peak colors on the car number 97 of Shepherd. Right behind them is the Detroit Gaskets car, L.D. Ottinger. Battle for the lead up front. Mark Martin brings the Ford Thunderbird beneath the Oldsmobile of Bobby Labonte in turn one, and Martin will take the measure of Labonte. Back to the back, battle again. That's really heating up. Jarrett just slides in front of Morgan Shepherd. They are battling for 14th spot. Jarrett is 14th, Shepherd 15th. That's Ottinger 16th, and Kenny Schrader in the car number 52 in 17th spot.
And Jerry, Jimmy Hensley is back in the pits once more. Boy, his championship hopes have really gone out the window here unless Chuck Bowen has some major problems. And we see Kenny Schrader now trying to go on the inside of L.D. Ottinger. What a move by Ken Schrader in the Kodiak Chevrolet. That car belongs to Schrader.
Kenny Schrader trying to run well. It's a car he ran so well with at Darlington early in the year. Finished third and really wagged the tail. Schrader trying to hang on to that Kodiak Monte Carlo, and they bump out of turn two. Sheet metal contact, Schrader and Ottinger. Schrader from the open wheel days will not take anything, and Ottinger certainly from his many, many years in the short tracks of Eastern Tennessee will not give any quarter. Those two drivers battling and now fall back in single file. Lots of racing action coming your way here in the early parts of the AC-Delco 200. Let's take a look again, Dad, at what happened just moments ago.
Well, as they came off of turn two, Schrader down on the inside, Ottinger up on the outside, and Schrader just slips up into him. Ottinger was holding his groove, and Schrader's car just broke loose a little bit, and they got together, but both of them held on.
Mark Martin showing the way here at North Carolina Motor Speedway in the early laps. Bobby Labonte chasing him. It's going to be an exciting one. Don't go away. We'll be back after this.
ESPN Home Video presents Bill Elliott Racing into History, the only video that shows you why this man became a racer and how he became a champion. Hosted by ESPN's Benny Parsons, you'll feel the excitement of driving with Bill as he wins NASCAR's biggest prize, the Winston Million. Order your copy for only $19.95. Call 1-800-533-1800. Racing into History lets you enjoy the excitement of driving with Bill again and again. Call today, 1-800-533-1800.
I wish you would leave a message.
New Crazy Calls for the holidays. A tape of 7 different songs and funny recordings for your answering machine.
Get the calls, the phone is ringing.
Thanksgiving almost always. Only $14.95. No need to moan. You got my phone.
At the tone, at the tone.
This holiday season, give someone the gift of gab for their answering machine.
To each word that you intone, you know that I will call you.
To order,
call 1-800-544-1000.
Back in the North Carolina Motor Speedway, we're under caution for the second time today. Why? Well, out of turn two, a spin by Tim Bender, making his first Busch Series start. The New York driver, former Sportsman driver, and a former winner in Sportsman competition at Charlotte Motor Speedway, spins it around, and they race back to the line for 10th spot. Here is Gann and Earnhardt racing for 10th. Who will it be as the caution flag waves, and Earnhardt will edge Harry Gant at the stripe for 10th spot. Pit stops here during the caution flag. A very busy pit road and some miscues. Jack Sprague exiting his pits, hits a loose tire, rolls it out in the middle of pit road as the Busch Series crews are working, getting ready for green flag racing. A new top 5 here after the caution flag and all the pit stops. Leading him down will be Bobby Labonte. Behind him is Davey Allison. Lap number 31 of 197, which comprised the AC-Delco 200. Back to green flag racing.
Chuck Bown had moved up into the top 5. He did not pit. Dale Jarrett got by him on the restart here. But Bobby Labonte now being challenged by Davey Allison. Bobby Labonte announced here this week that he and Penrose Sausage will be back together again next year. And he will run 4 Winston Cup races under the sponsorship of Penrose Sausages in 1991.
Bobby Labonte has traded his brother Terry Labonte, the former Winston Cup champion.
Darrell Waltrip has slowed dramatically coming off of turn 2. He was running in the 3rd position. And Waltrip down on the inside of the racetrack now. As we watch some of those that made pit stops, Mark Martin, look at him go by. We see Waltrip down on the inside in car number 17, but Earnhardt coming up on the outside. There's Harry Gant. All of those drivers that made pit stops. Boy, he jammed up when Waltrip slowed on the inside of the racetrack.
Heavy congestion as Waltrip makes the unscheduled pit stop. He will come down. Eddie Jones and the crew will go to work on the 3-time Winston Cup champions car, the Superflow Chevrolet Lumina.
Apparently has a flat tire.
Trouble in the backstretch. Jeff Gordon is coming to contact with the wall. A couple of cars spinning, trying to avoid. Jeff Burton spins. His car loops around. The car number 12. Other cars spinning down toward turn 3. Jeff Gordon is coming to heavy contact with the wall coming out of turn 2. Slid down the back straightaway. We have caution flag for the 3rd time today. Other cars involved. The car number 33 spinning around. That's Ed Barrier. Gordon's car has come to rest against the outside retaining wall up in turn 3.
Well, it's happening right in front of the biggest part of the field, Jerry. And we're fortunate that more cars were not involved. Let's take a look at it again. Well, it looks like the back end might have got a little loose as it came off a 2, and then when he corrected it, he got back into the wall on the outside. And then, of course, everybody else, or a number of cars trying to take evasive action, lost control of their cars.
And you see his wheels are turned to the right. He knows an entire field, some 25 cars are behind him. He kept that car against the wall. A smart move by a very young race driver. He's young but very mature. He saw the wheels turned hard right, and Jeff Gordon kept that car up against the wall and kept it out of other traffic. We are under caution for the 3rd time today at North Carolina Motor Speedway for contact with Jeff Gordon. Don't go away. Lots of laps left.
There's something elemental in us all, a basic need to seek out for ourselves a quiet place. Well, Oshkosh Men's Sportswear is made specifically for that search. Clothing that brings a man closer to himself and the earth. Rugged, comfortable, enduring. Find yourself in Oshkosh, exclusively at Sears.
The 300-year-old leaf spring suspension may be good enough for the Jeep Wrangler, but Suzuki has designed a modern, rugged suspension for the Sidekick with coil springs and hydraulic shocks. And that's just one reason Sidekicks are everyday vehicles that aren't.
Some people think it's a great idea for you to buy a second-rate antifreeze. Not all antifreeze is the same. Nothing beats Presto. And that's something you might appreciate down the road.
Live, top-ranked boxing on ESPN. The place where fighters have stepped into the ring as unknowns, made the right connection, and emerged as champions.
You gotta knock him out to win this, all right?
Olympian Michael Carbajal. Lightning quickness has made him an undefeated world champion. He battles Luis Manzote as Budweiser presents Top Rank Boxing, Thursday at the special time of 8 Eastern, live on ESPN.
We're back at North Carolina Motor Speedway, and you guessed it, we're under caution once again. Exciting Busch Series action, and why the caution flag number 3? Well, this excitement off of turn 2, Ned.
Jeff Gordon got loose as he came off the turn, and it looks like he might have overcorrected, Jerry, or just turned the wheel right back into the wall. The car got up on the wall a little bit, but he keeps it out there. A couple of other cars spin as well. Ed Barrier, one of those.
A great move by Dale Earnhardt and Robert Presley to avoid the car of Gordon. And just a couple of laps ago, another close call for Earnhardt and company out of turn 4.
Well, we see Earnhardt on the outside of the car number 96, Tom Peck, coming up on Bobby Moon in the red and white number 85, and there's Harry Gant in car number 7. They had to take evasive action as they slowed down when Darrell Waltrip, something happened to his car, and he pulled to the inside of the track.
Getting ready for green flag. Bobby Labonte still looking for win number 1. His first full year in Busch Series racing will lead him down. Green flag being waved by Pete Babb. Davey Allison running in second spot. Lap cars on the outside. It's Tim Bender, the car number 57. He is a lap down.
Something has happened to Rick Mascar. He had moved into 4th place on the restart. He was 5th, but something has happened to Mascar as we watch the battle for the lead. Mast is going up the backstretch now on the outside of the track, and other cars going by on the inside. He is very fortunate that someone hadn't run over him so far.
They go around Mast, splitting him in the middle. His car, there's Rick Mast, the Rockbridge, West Virginia driver, and cars back and forth now trying to get around him. A tough break for that Raven Bosch Buick of Rick Mast.
And Jerry, while all of that was going on, Davey Allison was able to move around as we watch Mast still going slowly around the track, was able to move around the car number 44 of Bobby Labonte and take the lead.
Davey Allison, who has run so well in Busch Series racing, and they're really mixing it up back in the pack. That is Ward Burton in the car number 9. Texas Speed Colors car. Now, it may be hard to compare. That's the same color as Morgan Shepherd's car. But Ward Burton driving the car number 9. He's a rookie driver. That is a Chevrolet Lumina. And there is our point leader, Chuck Bown, in the car number 63. Right behind him is Martin Martin. Remember those cars pitted for tires just a few laps ago. Martin and Earnhardt's back there. So is Darrell Waltrip, who is a lap down because of an unscheduled pit stop for a cut tire.
And Chuck Bown now in 4th, and Mark Martin in 5th place has come all the way back up to 5th. The cars, some of them look a little bit loose, Jerry, in the turns, but you see them moving around. The back end gets a little bit loose on them. We watch Mark Martin trying to go on the inside of Chuck Bown, but Bown shuts the door. Darrell Waltrip there is a lap down. The black flag being given to Jack Sprague in car number 34.
He jumped the flag on the start net, so they brought him in for a stop-and-go penalty. But a great run for Chuck Bown. We talked about how he had not excelled that well on the super speedways this year, but he's certainly making up for it today. And what a time to perform now as he tries to hold on. But Martin really flexing the muscle. Don Kowalski prepared Ford engine. The Bill Davis on car number 1 takes over that spot.
Moved up by him on the outside. There's Darrell Waltrip trying to go by on the outside. And then here's Dale Earnhardt coming up behind him. That moves Bowen back to the 4th position. Earnhardt now trying to take over that 4th position.
Battle side by side, the car number 99 and the car number 9. A veteran driver, Tommy Ellis, in the Goo Goo Clusters Buick, car number 99. The right of your screen underneath the rookie driver, Ward Burton. An impressive run at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Burton ran in the top 5 all afternoon. Ended up finishing 7th on that last lap dash in Charlotte. But a great performance. He's driving Mike Swain's Texas Pete Chevrolet. Well, we talked about Jeff Gordon. Had a great qualifying effort, but his day has gone pretty sour early on. It came into contact with a wall, and he is now standing with our Benny Parsons.
Yeah, it's a pretty heavy contact. What happened?
Well, you know, we got looser quicker than we thought we were going to be. We thought we'd be a little bit tighter, and then the car would come to us a little bit later in the race, and it got pretty loose. And, you know, I was just trying to hang on to it, and there was a lot of guys from the back coming up that had changed their tires. Some of the guys that even had, they're just a little bit faster. And I went into one a little bit too hard, and I got up high, and the rear end started to come around, and I thought I had saved it, and then it just started fishtailing. I was trying to catch up with it. I probably should have just let it go on around, but I was trying to catch up with it, and it just hooked up and took the right front right in the wall. So, you know, I guess we're just gonna go through these days, and we just learn from every mistake we make. So, you know, we'll just go to the next race, I guess.
There is going to be a next one, though. That's the good news.
Yeah, we'll be at Martinsville.
We might mention, of course, that Davey Allison is showing the way here. He has gone around the youngster, 26-year-old Bobby Labonte, driving the Penrose Sausages Oldsmobile. Davey Allison driving a Chevrolet Lumina, prepared by the Allison Brothers Racing.
Now, neither of those drivers have made a pit stop. Here's a battle between Tom Peck and Harry Gant. Peck in the blue, number 96. Gant in the Oldsmobile Buick, it is, number 7.
And they are battling for the 9th spot. Gant being shown in 9th. Tom Peck, the McConnellsburg, Pennsylvania driver. Former dirt track ace up and around Pennsylvania. Ran Williams Grove. Ran some of the tracks up in Maryland. Started the year like gangbusters at Daytona. Qualified that car 4th on the speedways of Daytona. His best run, that's we're talking about Tom Peck now. The blue car number 96 coming up at Dover where he finished 4th early in the year. And a battle heating up for 2nd spot.
That's for 3rd spot. Mark Martin has just moved around Dale Jarrett. He passed him on the outside. Now Martin, remember, has those bright, fresh tires, or fresher than those that he's racing with right now. Jarrett did not make a pit stop either. And the 2 cars up in front, you see the leader's not too far ahead of Martin. And Jarrett Martin is using a very high line here. Fairly early in this race, we've only run about a quarter of the race, and Martin already using a very high line.
We talked about the fact that they thought the Ford V6 program had come a long way after Darlington. Remember Bristol, Tennessee in August when they were able to get the new parts for the Ford V6, and that motor really humming here at North Carolina Motor Speedway. They're really mixing it up back in the pack now. 9th, 10th, 11th spot. Bobby Hamilton in the car number 8 goes around Tom Peck and will take 10th spot. Gant goes way high in turns 1 and 2, and Hamilton just breezes beneath him in his waves. And see you now, I'm 9th.
Boy, that's an impressive run by Hamilton, Jerry. He started back in 39th position. So he has his Oldsmobile on the run. Gant's car, look how high it goes into turns. It's certainly not working good. He did make a pit stop and put right side tires on his Skoal Buick, but not working too good right now.
Tom Peck trying to be very careful and pick his way by Harry Gant. His car is not handling that well here. Gant again rides high, but the man they're chasing is Davey Allison. Davey Allison up front with Bobby Labonte running in 2nd spot. We're in the early laps here of the AC-Delco 200, and Davey Allison showing the way. Don't go away.
Red Devil Clear Polyurethane. You can always count on its durable finish. Harder than ordinary clear finishes, its beauty lasts and lasts. Red Devil Clear Polyurethane for the finish of a lifetime.
Cheeber, cheeber. I hope you realize that playing with guns is an obvious cover-up for your male inadequacies.
Yeah? Well, why would anyone play with dogs?
Why would anyone play with you?
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 Why would anyone play with any of you?
Beats us, but Burger King's got them. The Simpsons for $3.49 each when you buy new mini muffins or any size fries. To give you the Simpsons for virtually peanuts, sometimes you gotta break the rules.
300-year-old leaf spring suspension may be good enough for the Jeep Wrangler, but Suzuki has designed a modern, rugged suspension for the Sidekick with coil springs and hydraulic shocks. And that's just one reason Sidekicks are everyday vehicles that aren't.
What makes a Quaker State engine so tough? One tough motor oil. And being tough takes more than just talking tough. There's a brand that says it's been engineered for smaller engines, while Quaker State has been tested tough for small engines. In Japan, in Europe, and in America. In fact, Quaker State has toughed out the most demanding specs for every size engine in every size car sold in the U.S. What makes any size Quaker State engine so tough? Quality engineered Quaker State. The Big Q is one tough motor oil.
Back in the North Carolina Motor Speedway for Busch Grand National Series racing action. A lot of activity early on. We are still under the 60 lap mark, working on lap 60 in the car number 97. That is Morgan Shepherd. A tight battle. Shepherd in the 97, a Ford Thunderbird. That is Elton Sawyer, the Gwaltney Meats car number 27. And Robert Presley, who ran so well at Martinsville, Virginia on the short track just a few weeks ago on ESPN. Those cars mixing it up.
It's interesting, Jerry, how we're seeing some cars work okay down low. Many of them are starting to slide up into the 2nd and 3rd grooves.
Meanwhile, back up front, Mark Martin is closing. There's Martin, the Carolina Ford dealer's Thunderbird, closing in on the Hamilton-sponsored Chevrolet of Davey Allison. Davey Allison has had an impressive run, Ed.
Yes, he has. On the 15th lap, he was 6th, and then by 25th, he moved up to 4th, and then eventually moved up to the lead. But he has a battle on his hand now. Mark Martin trying to move on the outside. Martin using that high groove. He got traction off the turn, and he'll get him going into turn 3.
And you talked about using that high groove and how strong Martin would be at the opening of the show, Ned. And Ned was certainly a prophet on that because Martin has come to bear.
Well, that other Ford we mentioned in the field is Morgan Shepherd in car number 97. He's trying to come up through there. That's L.D. Ottinger in car number 2. Five-time national champion Jack Ingram in car number 11. Shepherd surely he won't make it 3 abreast going into turn 1. Better back off, son. He did.
That's for 14th, 15th, and 16th spots. And he listened to you, Ned. You told him to back off, and Morgan thought of it. But because of Ingram and Ottinger, 2 guys who have run for years, for some 20 years, they have run just like that on the short tracks of western North Carolina and eastern Tennessee. And Shepherd was one of the guys who used to beat and bang with them. And remember, Jack Ingram has told people that next year will be his final year behind the wheel.
He's going to do a farewell tour, Jerry, and I think that's great. He's going to go around knowing that that's going to be his last race at many of the racetracks, and he'll go there and they'll do big promotions, especially at the short tracks, and I think that's wonderful. The man has been around as long as he has and been such an institution in this division.
Indeed, to give the fans who've enjoyed his brand of driving, just pedal down, turn left, one last chance to say so long. Drivers out of the race, Tommy Houston, of course, Jeff Gordon, and Jeff Green, a youngster, the 1990 Series champion at the National Fairgrounds Raceway, having problems early on.
Here's Bobby Hillen in car number 42, the split fire Pontiac, trying to move on the inside of Morgan Shepherd. Hillen has made a pit stop. As a matter of fact, he has made 2 pit stops during caution, so he has changed both side tires, right and left. They can only change 2 tires during a caution period. So he used 2 caution periods to come in and get 4 tires on that Pontiac.
That's the car you've seen Kyle Petty drive this year. The Ted Condor owned car number 42 that Bobby Hillen is driving here.
Well, he gets boxed in. There's Harry Gant slowing down, apparently headed for the pits. An unscheduled pit stop for Harry Gant. And the Skoll Buick, Gant, former winner here at the North Carolina Motor Speedway.
In fact, he's won the past 2 AC-Delco 200s in a row, 2 wins at North Carolina Motor Speedway, and Gant, an unscheduled stop. The Ed Whitaker crew now going to work. Chris Carrier in the crew changing right side tires on the Skoll Buick. 50-year-old Harry Gant getting a right side tire change. Clock's running. Remember, they're pulling a little bit of the finger of the car down away. Pretty good pit stop, 14.6 seconds.
Not bad at all. He might be able to stay in the lead lap. We'll see where Mark Martin is once he comes around and goes back out on the track. And Martin coming off at turn 4, so he should be able to maybe stay in the lead lap.
Mark Martin was loop around the car number 08. That's Bobby Dotter.
Now Gant was about a half a lap behind before he came in, Jerry, so he has gone a lap down to the lead.
The man they're chasing, number 1, Mark Martin, who has 1 win this year. That coming at Myrtle Beach on the short track. Would like to make it 2 here at North Carolina Motor Speedway.
If you can't wait, you need the News Weekly of Motoring Auto Week. If you can't wait for driving impressions, get Auto Week. Auto Week drives them all and tells you about them first. If you can't wait for car news, get Auto Week. Auto Week covers it all. The great old cars, the auto shows. Auto Week's columnists are controversial and fast. And if you can't wait for racing news, get the News Weekly of Motoring. Auto Week races to bring you the winningest coverage first. If you can't wait, get Auto Week, the News Weekly of Motoring, now. Call 1-800-828-4100 for a full year. 52 issues at the special TV price of $19.95. Just 38 cents an issue. Save $80 off the cover price. You've thought about it. Stop waiting. Do it now. Call 1-800-828-4100 for the News Weekly of Motoring.
Busch Grand National Series racing action. The AC-Delco 200 coming your way from Rockingham, North Carolina. And, of course, we have had a lot of action early on. Just moments ago, the man who might have been one of the favorites to chase that man, Mark Martin, who was our current leader, was Harry Gant. But Harry Gant had an unscheduled pit stop. And the problem, well, what was it, Benny Parsons?
Jerry Punch, Harry Gant got here just in the nick of the time. The right front tire was going flat. We can see the blisters that's raising on the tire. Here's where the tire actually blistered and holes came in it. You can imagine what would happen if he was going in the corner at 150 and this tire would blow out into the wall he would go. Harry Gant is a very lucky man.
Indeed, he is, Benny Parsons. He lost a lap in the pits, but he could have lost a race car and a lot more had he not been able to get that car down off the banking and slowed down for an unscheduled stop. There's the Skoll Buick of Harry Gant, the man who won just a few weeks ago on ESPN up in Dover, Delaware. Likewise, another high bank, 1 mile racetrack. Back up front, Mark Martin showing the way. And remember, Mark Martin was so strong earlier in the year at Darlington. The track too tough to tame. Looked like he had everything going his way, Ned, and suddenly, boom, the engine went away. Martin was suddenly slowed on a turn 4 and just parked the car, and it was over.
Well, they have had a good bit of engine problem with these Ford engines as they try to develop the V6 in the Fords. But they say that they have gained on it now, that they've been running too much timing in those engines. So they've backed it down quite a bit, and they feel confident now that they found the problems and they'll be able to live now.
Bobby Hillen getting a little contact there with Tom Peck. Bobby Hillen in the car number 42 to the left of your screen. Peck, the blue car, white numeral. Just moments ago, these two cars, a little bit of fender tag down in the turn.
That's Hillen down on the inside, and his car gets a little loose, and he gets up into Tom Peck. Harry Gant right behind him. He makes a move to the outside just in case they do spin around, but they did hold on to him, and everything's okay.
Harry Gant had a great view of that action a minute ago. As Gant now a lap down says, what else is going to happen to me? I'm behind these guys, and they want to go beating and banging here at 150 miles an hour. There is Gant now following Bobby Hillen over in turn 3. Kenny Schrader just in front of those cars. They've gone by the lap car of Tim Bender.
Of course, it's Mark Martin leading. In second place, Davey Allison. Bobby Labonte is still third. Dale Earnhardt fourth. Dale Jarrett in fifth place. In sixth now is the car number 8 of Bobby Hamilton, who has moved around Tommy Ellis. As we watch this battle, the 96 car of Tom Peck and Morgan Shepherd, car number 97, trying to move in on the inside of Peck. Peck's car going a little high in the turns, and Shepherd gets down on the inside, and they're battling for 13th position. Shepherd trying to move his Ford closer to the front. He knows there's one Ford out there that's motoring on now. That Mark Martin, of course.
Shepherd having a hard time keeping his car down on the bottom of the racetrack. The car tends to want to bob and weave a little bit there. He tries to keep the car pinned down, and of course the high groove there, the fast groove, if you will, belongs to Peck. As Shepherd tries to get back on the throttle, he is again in a Ford Thunderbird, a Don Miller prepared 274 cubic inch Ford V6 engine. I asked Don Miller yesterday exactly how much horsepower the Ford V6 would put out. He didn't really want to tell me. He said, you know, the Buicks are somewhere around 500, and we're around somewhere around 480 to 485, but they're awfully close, and now Shepherd again makes a move inside of Tom Peck. Morgan Shepherd, having run this car once before at Charlotte Motor Speedway just a few weeks ago, completed only 63 laps before they had an engine problem. They burned a piston in that car.
Peck hanging tough up on the outside. Tom Peck has had some good runs on the super speedways in particular. He always runs well at Darlington, and he's had some good runs at other tracks. Now Shepherd finally makes the move. And now he's trying the outside of Bobby Hillen. Looks like Hillen has slowed and headed into the pits. Indeed, Bobby Hillen, who was running in the 12th position now, into the pits.
And Jerry Kennan and the crew are going to work on the split fire Pontiac. Changing right side tires. You saw that tire that Benny Parsons showed a minute ago, that tire that had been blistered and cut down on Harry Gant's car as he made an unscheduled pit stop, and you've seen some contact just a few laps ago. Remember that Hillen came together with Peck, and the fenders may have rubbed the tire. Possibly that may have been the problem. Whatever, an unscheduled pit stop for that driver, Bobby Hillen, and he indeed will lose a lap to leaders as they come back down pit road.
So a number of unscheduled stops causing drivers to go a lap down. Robert Presley coming into the pits right now. Robert had just gone a lap down to the leader, Mark Martin, out on the racetrack. Robert was running in the 20th position.
There's Robert Presley at car number 59, the Alliance Training Center Oldsmobile. And the battle for fifth spot, Dale Earnhardt, the Goodrich Chevrolet, and the Nestle's Crunch Pontiac for Dale Jarrett. And right behind him, coming strong and hard to car number 8. That is Bobby Hamilton.
Earnhardt running fourth, Jarrett running fifth, and Bobby Hamilton in sixth. Look at Hamilton, had a notion to try to make it 3 wide as they came off at turn 4, as Jarrett tries to go around the lap car of Jack Sprague. And here comes Hamilton down on the inside, trying to get on the leaderboard. They only show 5 places on the leaderboard here at the North Carolina Motor Speedway, and Bobby Hamilton wants to see his number up there as he moves on the inside of Dale Jarrett, and he'll take the measure off of him coming off of turn 4.
Bobby Hamilton all the way from 39th starting spot. His Oldsmobile now being shown in the 5th spot as he goes around Dale Jarrett and tries to set his sights on Dale Earnhardt. Earnhardt's in front of him about 10 or 12 car lengths up. You see Hamilton now beginning to pull away from Dale Jarrett.
Now, Jerry, we'll see some pit stops by some of these drivers who did not come in during one of the cautions, including the second-place car of Davey Allison, Bobby Labonte, who is 3rd, and Dale Jarrett, who now has dropped back to 6th place. Neither of those drivers made pit stops during the caution, so they'll be running low in fuel. They can probably go another 20 laps or so, or maybe 25 laps. We've run 87 laps now, but I think the tires on Jarrett's Pontiac have about gone away on him.
Well, remember, they are V6 engines, 274 cubic inches. They have the small 390 carburetor, so they get great gas mileage. There's Dale Earnhardt's car. But what is the distance, Ned, where we've run almost 90 miles now? How far can they go?
Well, these cars, these V6s, can go about 110. Some of them might even stretch it a little bit farther than that as far as fuel is concerned.
Bobby Hamilton now beginning to reel in Earnhardt's car, going very high in turns 1 and 2. That's the groove he's been using in the last 30 or 40 laps.
Yeah, he's been running up there in that groove, but the car that's working good on the inside. Here's Mark Martin in heavy traffic as he moves on the outside of Rick Mast, coming up on LD Ottinger in car number 2. Ottinger is currently being shown in the 16th position. The car number 79 of Dave Resendez there has made a couple of unscheduled pit stops. Look out, Mark, you better get out of that. Boy, he was just about in trouble, and he knew it, and really had to get on the binders, the brakes, to keep from getting himself pinched in between those 2 cars.
Mark Martin, a heads-up move, trying to keep that car running high, wide, and handsome. And now the battle beginning to heat up for 4th spot. The car number 3 is Dale Earnhardt. The 8th is Bobby Hamilton. Hamilton in the Oldsmobile. His best Speedway finishes of the year. 5th twice at Dover and at Charlotte. Running awfully well here. Remember, Bobby Hamilton almost won Darlington early in the year. Tried to stretch the gas mileage 1 lap too much. He ran out of gas on that white flag lap. Did not quite make it. Looking for that first Super Speedway win. Had a great rookie year last year. Won it up at Richmond Fairgrounds Raceway. Started there, very back of the field. Shotgun on the field and came on to win it, almost like he's doing today. Where he started 39th and is now trying to move on Earnhardt. But Earnhardt now pulling away.
Yes, he is, because Hamilton got on the outside of the 33 car of Ed Barrier, and his car is just not working up there. Hamilton needs to run on the inside of the racetrack, and he got it down there very quickly once he got around Barrier. I think he'll pick back up on Earnhardt using that low groove.
Back up front, the man they're chasing is Mark Martin. Martin showing the way as we approach the halfway point. Martin moving around the Dave Resendez car. And a lot of people waiting and watching, enjoying Busch Series action. Don't go away. We'll be back after this.
No matter what you drive or where you drive, when you need shocks, you never have to wait for a sale. At AutoZone, Duralast gas shocks are just $10.94 every day. If you've been waiting for a sale on brakes, just remember this. At AutoZone, our Duralast brakes are just $10.99 every day, so you never have to wait for a sale.
You can spot someone who saved money with a second-rate antifreeze a mile away. Not all antifreeze is the same. Nothing beats Prestone. And that's something you might appreciate down the road.
We can't win if you can't stop Ricky Henderson.
When something on your mind,
This could get ugly.
or something you eat,
Look at that jump.
gives you acid indigestion, it's time for extra strength Rolaids. Fast, 1,000 milligrams strong. Now that spells relief.
In the final moments, Jacob Singer lived it all again.
Where are you taking me? Where am I?
A conspiracy he'll never uncover.
They're not telling us, so we have to find out what it is.
You're in over your head, Mr. Singer.
The child he can't forget. The terror that never ends.
Where do you want to go?
For some, the most terrifying moment of life.
This is your home. You're dead.
Is the moment of death.
I'm alive.
Jacob's Ladder, rated R. Starts Friday, November 2nd at a theater near you.
The lightning speed of Rajid the Rocket Ismail leads the Fighting Irish against Swervin' Curvin' Richards and the Pitt Panthers. Right before Penn State battles Alabama. Saturday starting at 5 Eastern live on ESPN.
Back in the North Carolina Motor Speedway, green flag action continues in pit stops. Under the green, the order of the day, Dale Jarrett's Nestle's Crunch Pontiac on pit road. John Irvin, Kenny Knupp, and the crew will change right side tires, fill it up with Unical fuel, clean the windshield. The crew now hustling. Remember, the green flag is out, and Jarrett was running in 6th spot. The back pit's also very busy. A couple of cars pitting over there. The 11 car in, that's the 5-time national champion Jack Ingram getting service from Robbie Ingram. Here is Jarrett exiting down in turn 1. He has made probably his only pit stop of the day. They only need 1 stop.
Yeah, he can go the rest of the way as far as that's concerned. Here's our points leader, Chuck Bown, coming into the pits, and Benny Parsons is there.
And he spins coming down pit road. His car is sitting on pit road sideways. He backs up, and he's losing valuable time. This could be the 1990 Busch Car National Champion. He finally brings the car to a stop. They were only going to change the right sides. They may have to come around and change the left. We'll see what Jeff Hensley and the crew decide to do.
And there's trouble on the backstretch.
And there's a caution flag. The caution flag is waving, so we'll know he will go back on the racetrack. Back on the racetrack he goes, but a very costly spin.
And a spin on the racetrack, heavy contact out of turn 2. A couple of cars have come together. Significant damage on Jack Ingram's car sitting up to the left of your screen. That's the 5-time national champion. The veteran Ingram still sitting in the car.
Jack had just come out of the pits just a lap or 2 ago. We saw him in the pits on the backstretch, and now up against the wall on the backstretch.
The car on the left of your screen, the white car with a red number, looks to be number 95. Larry Pollard, the Kirby Pollard Racing Oldsmobile, those cars having come together. Out of turn 2, caution flag once again being shown for the 4th time today. Here's just a moment ago, our current point leader, Chuck Bown, the Nescafe Pontiac, trying to get on pit road in a hurry.
And he tries a little too hard, Jerry. He comes in, and apparently the rear, well, you see the right front brake is locked up, and then the rear brakes are locked, and he slides sideways as he tries to come into his pits. He has to back up a little bit and then get it straight. Here's the leader, Mark Martin, in. They're making a chassis adjustment on the Carolina Ford dealers Ford, and gets that service pretty quickly and gets out. Here's Davey Allison getting service on the Texaco Chevrolet.
Very busy pit road. Harry Gant exiting pit road. Likewise here, coming back down, Allison, you see leaving Rick Mast, Dale Earnhardt, Bobby Hillen, Steve Grissom, Bobby Labonte. They come in.
And a tire went out in front of one of the cars as it gets pretty heavy, the traffic coming out of there. I don't think there was any damage done by that tire that came out there, Jerry, but it could have been very serious.
Okay, just minutes ago, out of turn 2, trouble. Larry Pollard's car spins right up in front of Jack Ingram, and Ingram had nowhere to go. Pollard's car across the racetrack, and Ingram hard contact. A great move. Gary Ballou in the Ram car, number 4, just to the inside.
Well, that was a tough break for both Larry Pollard and particularly Jack Ingram, who was the victim of the circumstances. Here's the tire that the crew member tried to get in. It looks like it did knock it back into one of Tommy Ellis's crew members, and then the car number 96 comes along and hits it again. There comes Dale Earnhardt out, but he did not hit the tire.
Action everywhere here on pit road on the racetrack, and we are just past the halfway. Don't go away. Lots of laps to come.
Don't stop short of the peak, 'cause second best won't do. There's a pride in peak performance.
Take more than 650 horsepower, wide open, for 500 miles. You need maximum protection to cool it.
I want the maximum going for me. That's why I've got peak on my car and in my car every time.
Don't stop short of the peak. No, don't stop short of the peak.
What could a sleek Jaguar have in common with a fat cat that a dashing deer has in common with a nimble ram and a big bad bulldog has in common with a cute little rabbit? The same quality filter protection you can give whatever animal it is you drive. From Purolator, the world's largest filter company.
It's one of the most technologically advanced, most rigorously tested fluids on Earth, relentlessly measured for maximum protection against the friction, the wear and tear, the heat and stress of today's engines. It is today's Quaker State. In Europe, in Japan, in America, Quaker State quality has passed the most demanding tests automakers can throw at it. At Quaker State, we don't just say we're tough, we're tested tough. The big Q is one tough motor oil.
Back in the North Carolina Motor Speedway, getting set for green flag action once again. Field 2x2 coming out of turn 4. Mark Martin will lead the way. Davey Allison makes a move to the inside. Green flag by Pete Babb. They will charge 3 wide in turn 1. Martin trying to hang on. Allison on the bottom of the racetrack. Chevrolet for the Hamilton driver of Davey Allison Ford as Martin charges back on the outside. They touch out of turn 2. Here comes Grissom in the car number 31. He was the 4th place car. That is a battle for position in turn 3. Grissom on the bottom of the track. Mark Martin, great Busch Series racing action just past the halfway point here at the North Carolina Motor Speedway.
Well, Martin's car was a little slow on the restart there, Jerry, and it gave Davey Allison the chance that he needed to move out there, and Steve Grissom taking measure there as well. There's Dale Earnhardt sitting there in 4th place in the car number 3.
Behind Earnhardt is Dale Jarrett. He had lost a lap by virtue of being in the pits when the caution came out a moment ago. He would like to make that lap up. He is working on the bottom of the track behind Earnhardt.
But I think he's going to get a black flag, Jerry. I think he and Bobby Labonte and maybe the Jack Craig car were out of position on the restart, or either jump the flag. It's going to be a stop-and-go penalty for them.
Davey Allison has pulled away by some 12 car lengths, make it 14 car lengths. He is saying, see you guys. Steve Grissom in 2nd place in the car number 31, a 2-time winner this year, with a bevy of cars behind him. Martin in the Ford, Earnhardt. Then comes the lap car of Dale Jarrett. The 17 car also a lap down by virtue of an unscheduled stop. That's Darrell Waltrip, and right behind them is Bobby Labonte. Battle heating up for 2nd spot is Martin trying to squeeze to the outside of Steve Grissom, the Gadsden, Alabama driver. Grissom driving for the Big Mama Meat Snacks Company. That sponsor and company both have gone away for 91, having been purchased by Goodmark Food, their competitor in Raleigh, North Carolina. It's now a battle for 2nd spot. 2x2. Grissom and Martin. Then comes Earnhardt and Waltrip, and the stop-and-go penalty for Dale Jarrett. A tough break from Jarrett, who looked to have one of the strongest cars in the field. Also, Bobby Labonte, a stop-and-go just a moment ago. His car coming in. A tough break for that driver. You might notice the Bobby Hamilton car is missing from this fray. He was one of the strongest cars in the field. Moments ago, during the caution flag, here is Bobby Hamilton's car. Now, his car being brought around by the wrecker, heavy damage in the front end of his Oldsmobile, and Hamilton looked to have a great day. But under the caution, he was in the pits along with Gary Ballou. Well, what happened, Benny Parsons?
What happened, Gary? Well, we come to the pits here. We rolled back to the caution. We're pitting on the back straightaway. Rolled in, got our tires, and rolled back out. Bobby rolled out behind us just a little bit. 2 cars went out fast, the NASCAR official in the pit road, and there was nothing coming down the back straightaway. But even if there was not supposed to be a stop sign. We're supposed to blend in because we're pitting on the back straightaway. But at that time, that cop put the stop sign on me and stood there, and it was either stop or run him over. I'm damn sure don't want to hurt nobody, and I locked him up. Bobby had nowhere to go and run over the back of me. Me and Robbie real good shot of winning the race.
Yeah, it's a shame. You know, we come from third and ninth. Benny was running fourth, really placing ourselves. And they just told us in the driver's meeting, go out on the back straightaway, stay below the blend line, and blend in adjacent to the cars you come out with, that you come out the side over there. There shouldn't have been a stop sign unless the pace car's like right here. So the pace car's out of sight. So we make mistakes, we get black flag. Other people make mistakes, there's no black flag.
A couple of drivers that are able to smile, but certainly Bobby Hamilton had a shot at winning this race today. Gary Ballou having a good run in the Roy Hill car. Both those drivers are now out of it here at Rockingham. There's the battle. Earnhardt in the car number 3. Steve Grissom trying to hold his on in the car number 31. And, of course, the Superflow Chevrolet. That's the lap car of Darrell Waltrip. Now, Steve Grissom started back in 23rd spot on lap 25. He has moved to 23rd, we should say, all the way up to lap 123, where he is now being shown in 3rd position. Grissom having won back-to-back this year at Pulaski County, Virginia, and also on ESPN, a tremendous run up at Bob Daniels' fine facility, the Indianapolis Raceway Park. He won up there.
Jerry, there are only 8 cars in the lead lap. Of course, Davey Allison is the leader in 2nd place. is Mark Martin. Third is Steve Grissom. Fourth, Dale Earnhardt. In fifth place is the pole sitter, Dave Mader. Sixth, Tommy Ellis. Seventh is Morgan Shepherd, and Ken Prater is in eighth place. Darrell Waltrip is ninth, 1 lap down, and Bobby Hillen 10th, 1 lap down.
Running awfully strong. That's Tommy Ellis in the car number 99, Lulu Buster's car. Remember, Ellis will leave that ride at the end of the year and move on to another Busch Series ride. And, of course, our current point leader, the man who could wrap up the series championship here, Chuck Bown, in the Nescafe Classic Pontiac, car number 63.
He is 2 laps down. Sorry. He is 2 laps down now, but still trying to move around here. He can't. He was only 1 lap down. Can't in the 11th position.
Great Busch Series racing action from the North Carolina Motor Speedway here as they are chasing up front the car of Davey Allison. Allison looking for his first Busch Series win of the 1990 season. Allison has run a number of events this year. 9 starts, his best finish, a 6th place coming in Charlotte back in May. Davey Allison carrying the Haviland colors, the big red and white star on the Chevrolet Lumina, showing the way here, and Mark Martin is in the chase. Laps are winding down. Don't go away. Lots of racing left to come.
Winning. It can all come down to one spark plug. Champion. No other brand of spark plug in the world has fired more NASCAR, Indy, and Formula One drivers to victory than Champion. Imagine what Champion spark plugs can do for you. Plug in the winners. Plug in the Champion. Because when we race, you win.
Red Devil Clear Polyurethane. You can always count on its durable finish. Harder than ordinary clear finishes, its beauty lasts and lasts. Red Devil Clear Polyurethane for the finish of a lifetime.
Some people think it's a great idea for you to buy a second-rate antifreeze. Not all antifreeze is the same. Nothing beats Prestone. And that's something you might appreciate down the road.
The Quaker State King Racing Buick, winner of the 1989 Die Hard Award for the most top NASCAR miles, is winning again in 1990 as Brett Bodine takes first in the first Union 400. It takes a tough oil to keep a car running this tough, and it takes a tough driver to step right in, step on it, and win. But number 26 is one tough car. Brett Bodine is one tough driver, and Quaker State is one tough motor oil.
Back in North Carolina Motor Speedway, it's beginning to get hot up front as Davey Allison is trying to hold off Mark Martin. Martin goes very deep and very high in turns 1 and 2. The Carolina Ford Dealer Thunderbird at car number 1 of Mark Martin. The Haviland colors for Davey Allison. Red Farmer, the crew chief on Davey's car. Davey trying to hold off Martin, but he's been coming in a hurry.
Yes, he has. He dropped back on the restart. He had a bad start, Jerry, and got a couple of seconds behind Davey Allison, but he has moved in on him. And watch him as he takes the high groove, trying to move around Davey on the outside. Davey stays down low, and look how high Mark Martin goes, but look what a run he gets off the turns. Now, Davey came off the turn good on the low side that time, so he didn't pick up quite as much as he has been picking up. In fact, he lost a little bit. But now he moves back in turn 3.
Lap traffic in front of the Hal Goodson car. Now Martin has a move on the inside. That's the opening you wanted. And it's a dead heat almost at the start-finish line as Martin now moves underneath Davey Allison in turn 1 and takes the lead away.
Well, you remember, Jerry, when Davey Allison, of course, he drives the Ford in the Winston Cup competition, and he drove the Ford for a while in Busch Grand National competition as he brings the Chevrolet back on the inside of Mark Martin, trying to regain the lead as they go into turn 3. He might have him. The low side on that turn seems to be the preferred groove. They come awfully close, but you wonder what he's thinking about. Say, hey, that Ford wasn't that good for me, but certainly working for Mark Martin.
Fans on their feet enjoying great Busch Grand National racing action here, the final Super Speedway event of the year for 1990. 30 of 31 races, and Mark Martin, our leader. Martin picking up his first ever win a couple of years ago in Busch Series racing. Davey Allison running in second spot. Allison has yet to win this year. Martin's one win coming on the short track at Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, back in July.
Davey hanging with him, at least for the moment, after Mark made the pass. Two Winston Cup drivers battling it out here in Busch Grand National competition. Dale Earnhardt is running in the 6th position right now. And look what a heavy group of cars he is running in. Kenny Wallace goes by him on the inside, so does Dale Jarrett. Jarrett had that stop-and-go penalty, but he has come back up through the field. Tom Peck in the car number 96 trying to move on the inside of the car number 36 of Kenny Wallace. Now that's 4 position. Wallace running in the 12th position. Peck in 13th, and Jarrett was running 14th. Now he's trying to take over that position. All those cars are lapped down, but Earnhardt is definitely not running as good as he was. There's Bobby Labonte in that group as well. Bobby is also a lap down. He and Jarrett, several other cars had just made a green flag pit stop before the last caution came out.
Out of the race den, Tommy Houston, Jeff Gordon, Jeff Green, those 3 cars. Gary Ballou, we talked to Gary a little bit ago. Jack Ingram involved with Larry Pollard in that accident up in turn 2. Stanley Smith, former All-American Challenge champion. Bobby Hamilton involved in the pit road accident. And Bobby Moon, an impressive young rookie driver, having a partner here this afternoon. Earnhardt going way up high. His car, as you said, Dan, not performing up to par here. He is certainly slowed. Not nearly as much as we thought he was going to slow moments ago, but the car not running nearly as well as he would like.
Well, at one time we thought he was coming into the pits, but he didn't, so he's still running in the 6th position, one of 8 cars on the lead lap, and here are the leaders. Mark Martin still ahead of Davey Allison. Allison hanging on to Martin after Martin made the pass. He had come from pretty far back, Martin had, and closed the distance and then made the pass. Now Davey hanging with him.
Mark Martin showing the way here at the North Carolina Motor Speedway. Davey Allison trying to hold on. Martin trying to move down on some of the lap traffic there. Jack Sprague's car number 34. Impressive young driver.
Sprague is one of the cars that's just 1 lap down, but he's about to go 2 laps down as Martin now looked high, but decides maybe the low side would be the place to go, but Sprague goes up there as they go down the track stretch into turn 3. Martin has to look ahead of him and also look in the rearview mirror. Now Sprague goes high. That gives the opening that Mark Martin needed, and boy, he drives that Ford under him and just motor's right on time. Davey Allison now is going to lose a little bit of time to Mark Martin, it looks like, as Davey might have some trouble getting around the Jack Sprague car.
Mark Martin showing the way, North Carolina Motor Speedway. So let's take a look at this track fact brought to you by Quaker State.
How do they do it without cross-threading a bolt and a nut? One reason is the shoulder on the stud. The nut's glide loose. Even so, every once in a while, the nut will cross-thread. When that happens, they bring in a thread chaser, a piece of special hardened steel that goes on the stud and makes its own threads as it goes on. They tighten this up. The next time they make a pit stop, they simply take it off, and they have a set of threads that the thread chaser has made.
Well, that's very interesting, Benny. Thread chasers, sometimes in the quick action of the pits, they will cross-thread a lug nut, and that's the way they can fix it here if they have a problem on pit road. Mark Martin showing the way. Allison Grissom, Ellison Shepard. Stay with us. We'll be back after this.
If you can't wait, you need the News Weekly of Motoring Auto Week. If you can't wait for driving impressions, get Auto Week. Auto Week drives them all and tells you about them first. If you can't wait for car news, get Auto Week. Auto Week covers it all. The great old cars, the auto shows. Auto Week's columnists are controversial and fast. And if you can't wait for racing news, get the News Weekly of Motoring. Auto Week races to bring you the winningest coverage first. If you can't wait, get Auto Week, the News Weekly of Motoring, now. Call 1-800-828-4100 for a full year. 52 issues at the special TV price of $19.95. Just 38 cents an issue. Save $80 off the cover price. You've thought about it. Stop waiting. Do it now. Call 1-800-828-4100 for the News Weekly of Motoring.
Mike Singletary hits hard, but not like the hard-hitting football news on ESPN's Emmy Award-winning NFL Game Day. The team of Berman, Axtell, Jackson, Edelstein, and Theismann hit the air each Sunday. Jerry Rice can cover the field, but not like the football coverage on ESPN's hour-long NFL Game Day. We'll take you all around the NFL and inside the numbers. NFL Game Day, Sundays at noon Eastern, only on ESPN.
After 162 of 197 laps here at the North Carolina Motor Speedway in the Grand National Series AC-Delco 200, Mark Martin is showing the way. Fellow Winston Cup campaigner Davey Allison in second place. A great run by Steve Grissom. Morgan Shepherd puts his forward in fourth spot. Dale Earnhardt showing in the fifth, 6 through 10. Dave Mader, our pole sitter, holding on the sixth spot. Darrell Waltrip is seventh. Harry Gant is eighth. Bobby Hill in ninth, and Kenny Schrader rounding out the top 10.
Dale Jarrett just went around Kenny Schrader for the 10th position. Schrader is a lap down now. There are only 6 cars, as a matter of fact, on the lead lap. Jerry, Tommy Ellis was up on the lead lap, but he made a green flag pit stop, so he now is being shown back into 12th position.
There's Mark Martin in the car number 1. This car is owned by Bill Davis. We mentioned that Davis wanted to run for the entire championship next year, possibly in Busch Series racing. There is the second place car. You saw the interval between the front two cars. Mark Martin and Davey Allison. There's Allison in the Haviland Chevrolet. Now we are told that possibly Bill Davis, who owns the car number 1 of Mark Martin, might run a limited schedule with Dorsey Schrader. The GTO champion and former Trans Am Series champion. Schrader may run, we are told, as many as 8 or 9 Busch Series events and possibly 8 or 9 Winston Cup races next year.
Well, what has happened to Dave Mader, who started on the pole? Here he is about to try to move around Dale Earnhardt for 5th position. Mader has stayed in the lead lap all afternoon. We haven't seen much of him recently, but now about to get back on the scoreboard in 5th position if he can take this position from Earnhardt.
This would be Dave Mader's best finish of the year if he could get up in the top 5. He has had some impressive runs, particularly in Bristol, Tennessee on ESPN, where it looked to be going on his way to victory, and the car ran out of gas. He didn't pit quick enough up there. Mader, a 4-time All-American Challenge Series champion.
Jerry had a golden opportunity there. He was in front of Earnhardt as he started off with that turn. If he would have slid right up in front, or drove up in front of him, Earnhardt would have had to back off. But he didn't do it. He gave Earnhardt the room out there, and Earnhardt came right back on around. There's a lot of traffic behind him there.
Carter 96 back there.
Tom Peck being shown in 13th, and the 27 car being shown in 14th position. And car number 9. Also, now those cars are a lap down.
Racing action a lot of places here around the racetrack. North Carolina Motor Speedway. Warren Burton in the car number 9. Being shown a lap down. His car was being shown in the 17th position.
Here's a battle. Harry Gant moving around at the top of the screen as we see Mark Martin. He's the leader, but just behind him was Harry Gant and Darrell Waltrip. There they are as they go into turn 1 side by side. That is for position. Both of those drivers are a lap down, but they're battling for the 7th position. And Gant gets the measure of Harry Gant. Now, he's not too far behind Mark Martin and is gaining on Mark Martin. He'd like to be up there and catch him and get back in the lead lap. Now, not too far behind these two cars is Dale Jarrett, who has been the fastest car on the track since that caution, but he had a stop-and-go penalty, so he has come from a half a lap down and is gaining on all of those cars. But Mark Martin still the man of the hour in the car number 1. He might just be sitting there riding. He certainly has the second place driver, Davey Allison, covered at this point, Jerry, so he's probably not too worried about those cars that are lap down until he sees them real close in his rearview mirror.
Mark Martin trying to pick up Busch Series win number 4. His first win coming back in 1987 up at Dover, Delaware. That was that win that got him his Winston Cup ride. With Jack Roush standing and watching, looking for someone to drive his Winston Cup car. He won this race here. Actually, he won at this racetrack in the spring of 1988, and he won earlier this year at the Myrtle Beach Speedway. 3 Busch Series wins for Mark Martin. He has come oh so close so many times. Only had to have problems late in the race.
And there is problems over in turn 2. The car has spun out down to the inside of the racetrack. The caution is out. It was Patty Moise in the Mike Laughlin Buick, car number 45.
Patty brings the car down the backstretch pit area. There are pits on both the front and back straightaways, and there is Patty's crew. They will go to attend her Buick. Patty Moise.
Hey, this is going to be a break for Dale Earnhardt, Jerry. He was not far from going a lap down to Mark Martin. Although he was running in 5th place, he and Dave Mader both were not far behind, or not far ahead of Mark Martin. So now they will remain in the lead lap. Now, who will pit and who won't pit?
A lot of drivers making an entry. Here comes the leader, Mark Martin, down pit road. Harry Gant likewise. Davey Allison, Darrell Waltrip. A lot of activity in the pits. Let's follow our leader here in the Carolina Ford Dealers car. Bill Davis crew going to work. They will change left side tires. Remember the Busch Series rule? Very, very busy pit roads. You can only change 2 tires and no more than 2 under the caution flag. Davey Allison on the bottom of your screen. That's Martin on the top. He has changed left side tires and nearly gets impacted there by the Jack Sprague car, number 34, as he jumped on the brakes. Martin exiting the pits, and Dale Jarrett trying to get into pits, and he nearly comes together with another car.
Yeah, he was trying to get out of the pits, and Jimmy Hensley was coming in.
Let's take a look at what happened to Patty Moise over in turn 2. Her car now coming down across the banking. One car just evading it. Patty did a great job to keep that car from really getting heavily damaged into the wall. She brought the car down pit road, and that's the reason for the latest caution flag of the day. Caution number 5. Well, can Mark Martin hang on in the final laps? Will they chase him down? We'll find out when we come back after this.
No matter what you drive or where you drive, when you need shocks, you never have to wait for a sale. At AutoZone, Duralast gas shocks are just $10.94 every day. If you've been waiting for a sale on brakes, just remember this. At AutoZone, our Duralast brakes are just $10.99 every day, so you never have to wait for a sale.
Burger King introduces new breakfast pick-em-ups, the perfect breakfast for people on the move. Bite-sized hash brown tater tenders, tasty French toast sticks, or a variety of delicious new mini muffins. Breakfast pick-em-ups. Great tasting, hot breakfast. You can easily eat on the go. New breakfast pick-em-ups. To give you a great breakfast to go, sometimes you gotta break the rules.
Back at North Carolina Motor Speedway, yellow flag waving on lap 180. Heavy contact out in turn 1. A number of cars, 3, 4 cars spinning. And our points leader escaping that. Actually, his car was slowing. It may have precipitated that crash. He was making his way down pit road. And Chuck Bown brings an Nescafe Classic car in the pits. And let's check in and see what the problem was with Benny Parsons.
Jerry Punch, right now they're waiting to tell Chuck Bown that the green flag is being thrown by the starter. Jeff Hensley is waiting, watching the flagman, watching. As soon as he throws the green flag, I think I'll be able to talk to him. Hang on just 1 second. Hensley keeps watching intently the flagman. Keeps waiting. He pushes the button down, but the flag hasn't been thrown yet. Now he tells him to go. Jeff Hensley, how bad was the damage on the automobile?
Well, it's just cosmetic or just a bad break because we just come in and got tires and running real good. We run over a big piece of metal. I don't know what it was, but you can see it cut the whole right side of the wall out of the tire and flew up and caught the right front fender. But it's not rubbing now. We only got about, 15 laps to go. You tell me. I've lost count, but we just need to try to hang on and finish this thing and clinch this championship for Nescafe and Pontiac and Hensley Racing.
Hey, here's the tool that they used. Brad, let me show them the tool that they used to pull a fender off the right front tire. Very sophisticated hammer.
Yep, it still works. There again, still trying to get his lap back from Mark Martin. He got it beside him a moment ago. Darrell Waltrip has slowed on he went very high up in the turns, and now is dropping back into the field. Waltrip was running in the 8th position, 1 lap down, and there Chuck Bown goes by as Waltrip stays out there, running high on the track, and about everybody going around him.
And if Chuck Bown can just hang on for 10 more laps, he will pick up the 1990 Busch Grand National Series Championship. His car just trying to hang on. 10 laps to go here in the AC-Delco 200. Chuck Bown, the Nescafe Classic Pontiac, car number 63. Back up front, left of your screen, the car number 1. Mark Martin looking for win number 2 here this year. Harry Gant behind him trying to unlap himself. There's the car number 31. That is Steve Grissom. He has gone back around Dave Mader. Grissom in the 2nd place car. Big Mama Meat Snacks Oldsmobile. Morgan Shepherd in the car number 97 also in that fray. Down on the inside there is Earnhardt.
And they're all battling for position. Now Earnhardt trying to take over third for Morgan Shepherd, and he gets by. Can he hold it? Does he come off the turn? Yep, I believe he has. Morgan Shepherd.
Second, third, fourth, and fifth place cars right there. That's Grissom, Earnhardt, Shepherd, and Mater. Mater, of course, the pole center.
Davey Allison is running in sixth place. He had been up in second, but he had several pit stops during the caution. They had some problems with the right rear wheel on that car, and he now is back in sixth position.
Steve Grissom would be his best finish on the Super Speedway. We mentioned he's won twice this year, and they are looking for a sponsor for 1991. We mentioned his sponsor this year, the Big Mama Meat Snacks Acme Food Company, has been bought out by Bobby Labonte's sponsor, Competing Snack Food. Here in Busch Series Racing, and sort of the Big Mama Snacks will go away for 91, and Grissom, by virtue of a great performance today, will have a good shot at obtaining a sponsor for 91. Great young man. Seems being chased by two of the best, Dale Earnhardt and Morgan Shepherd. They run in third and fourth place. Man, you made the call. You said the Fords are going to be strong here today. You said watch out for Mark Martin and Shepherd, and of course that's it. Mark Martin looks to win it if he can hang on, and Shepherd should get a top 5 finish.
They have been very impressive, and Martin in particular. Now, we see here again, has moved around Mark Martin, has gotten back in the lead lap. That'll put Terry in the 7th position, so that means 7 cars are on the lead lap. But Steve Grissom now moving up closer on Mark Martin. He has ideas of trying to pass that Ford.
Steve Grissom, a tremendous athlete in high school, a high school All-American, defensive end. Turned down opportunities to play college football on a scholarship at some of the nation's best football programs to go stock car racing. It certainly has paid off. One of the most likable drivers on the circuit, trying to move in closer and closer as laps are now winding down, and Grissom now making the move inside of Mark Martin's Ford.
Wow. We haven't seen Grissom up towards the front today. Mark Martin has been the man up there, but right now, Grissom trying to take over the first position.
It has been a tough week for Steve Grissom as he tries to hang on. Did not qualify well, starting back in 33rd spot. The 27-year-old driver from Gadsden, Alabama, trying to hold on for 3 more circuits here on the 1-mile oval.
Here's Earnhardt trying to move around Mark Martin as well. Martin's car not working as well now as it was, or something's going wrong. He and Earnhardt touch a little bit. Earnhardt gets on the inside, carries Martin a little bit high as they come off of turn 4. It looks like Earnhardt will get second, and there's Morgan Shepherd right behind both of them.
Mark Martin's potent Ford is faltering here. That's the Winston Cup Championship battle that you'll see on ESPN here as the weeks wind down in that series. That, of course, is the Winston Cup, a different division of NASCAR. Earnhardt and Martin battling today in Busch Grand National competition in the battle on the racetrack. Those 3 veteran drivers, Morgan Shepherd, the third one in that bunch, battling now for second spot as Earnhardt makes the move by. Now Shepherd underneath Mark Martin. He will try to take the third spot away.
White flag is waving. Steve Grissom, 1 more lap to go. He is fast. He has moved around here again as we watch that battle for third. Earnhardt is in second, but Morgan Shepherd trying to take over third from Mark Martin here on this last lap.
Morgan Shepherd, Ford against Ford down in turn 3. Martin down on the bottom of the racetrack. Shepherd now on the inside groove as Martin gets in plenty of racing room. Steve Grissom will come down and win the AC-Delco 200. We mentioned that Grissom lost a crew chief this week. Steve Bird moving on to the Kenny Wallace team, and Brian Frazier, his brother-in-law, became the crew chief. What a great way to have a super week. And of course, they are celebrating on pit road. Yes, there he is. Congratulations to Richard Charles Bown Jr., alias Chuck Bown, the 1990 Busch Grand National Series champion. And yes, indeed, the high fives for the Escafé Classic crew. There's Dennis Punch, the Busch Series representative, as he unfurls the Busch side, the 1990 Series champion, and the lion's share of the $100,000 postseason purse will now go to Chuck Bown. A well-deserving driver, and then a well-deserved team.
Yes, they had a super season. We mentioned at the top of the show that things had not gone well in the last 7 races, and certainly didn't go well for them here today. But boy, in the early part of the year, in the middle part of the year, they were absolutely awesome. They won 6 races, so they've had a great year, and congratulations to them.
Well, Steve Grissom will make his way to victory lane, and we'll hopefully hear from him in a moment. And we will also hear from the 1990 Busch Series champion, Chuck Bown. Don't go away. We'll be back with more after this.
Shine a light on you, shine a light on me. Keep your light shining for everyone to see.
Every day, more and more people are getting together over an ice-cold Bud Light.
Well, you can taste it, you can feel it, you know you got it right. 'Cause everything else is just a light. Just keep your Bud Light shining. Everything else is just a light. Bud Light shine on. Everything else is...
If you can't wait, you need the News Weekly of Motoring Auto Week. If you can't wait for driving impressions, get Auto Week. Auto Week drives them all and tells you about them first. If you can't wait for car news, get Auto Week. Auto Week covers it all. The great old cars, the auto shows. Auto Week's columnists are controversial and fast. And if you can't wait for racing news, get the News Weekly of Motoring. Auto Week races to bring you the winningest coverage first. If you can't wait, get Auto Week, the News Weekly of Motoring, now. Call 1-800-828-4100 for a full year, 52 issues at the special TV price of $19.95, just 38 cents an issue. Save $80 off the cover price. You've thought about it. Stop waiting. Do it now. Call 1-800-828-4100 for the News Weekly of Motoring.
There's something elemental in us all. A basic need to seek out for ourselves a quiet place. Well, Oshkosh Men's Sportswear is made specifically for that search. Clothing that brings a man closer to himself and the earth. Rugged, comfortable, enduring. Find yourself in Oshkosh, exclusively at Sears.
Back at the North Carolina Motor Speedway, where Steve Grissom has picked up his third Busch Series career win. Dale Earnhardt finishes second, Morgan Shepherd is third, Mark Martin fourth, and Dave Mader is fifth. We hope you've enjoyed today's Speed World coverage of the AC-Delco 200, brought to you by Quaker State. The Big Q is one tough motor oil. By Suzuki, everyday vehicles that aren't. And by Burger King. If you want to give people what they want, sometimes you've got to break the rules. Let's go down to the Sears Roadhander Winter Circle interview with Benny Parsons.
Steve Grissom, you come to Rockingham. Look what you found.
Boy, I tell you what, this piece of rock right here, I'm going to remember this one for a long time.
Your first victory on a super speedway.
Well, I tell you what, it wasn't too long ago till it was our first Busch victory, and to come back and this be the third victory and on a speedway, I tell you what, it's just super.
I heard you lost your sponsor. You still going ahead in 1991?
Well, right now we're up in the air. We're not ready for sure. We got a few things working, but you know, right now we're just going to enjoy this and worry about 91 tomorrow.
Well, Steve, we're talking to a race champ. We got to just move over here and talk to a series champ. Chuck Bown, congratulations, Busch Grand National Champion. How's it sound?
Well, it sounds good, Benny. We're thrilled. One race to go. Maybe we can wrap 1990 up with a victory at Martinsville, but I got to thank Nescafe and Pontiac and the Hensleys and Mike Laughlin, Kevin Blankets, everybody that made this happen. Drivers don't win championships, teams do, and this is a result of a year of hard work.
What about the spin out on pit road? What happened there?
Well, it was just a green flag stop, and I was coming in as hard as I could to try to make a good stop, and the tires were so worn out, I was on the brake hard, got the rear wheels hopping a little bit, and just lost it for a moment, which didn't help us any in the final results today, but we hung in there and finished the race and did the best we could. It wasn't real pretty, but it was good enough to ice the championship.
The fact that Hensley had all the troubles early, did that seem to affect your day? Did things start going wrong as soon as he had problems?
Well, it's been that way all year, you know. My bad luck turns into his bad luck, and I guess the same for us. When he has a bad day, things turn around for us. But, you know, we've had a lot of good races this season all year long, and he's had a great year, even though he wasn't able to get this championship, and I'm just tickled to get it. And, you know, both Jimmy Hensley and the Hensley Racing Team are from Horse Pasture, so maybe this will put Horse Pasture, Virginia on the map.
It was announced this week you're going to be back next year to defend your crown in Busch Grand National.
That's true. I'll be full-time Busch Grand National with the same team and try to make it 2 in a row with the Busch Grand National Series.
Chuck, congratulations on a great championship.
Thank you, Benny. I appreciate it. Hi, Mom and Dad.
And he will be a great champion. Let's take a look at the full field rundown here. The top 40, of course, Grissom winning it, Ned. And you see the top 5 there. Martin, who was a great force today, finishing in 4th spot. And a lot of drivers having pretty good afternoons.
Yeah, several drivers made pit stops during the green, including Harry Gant, Dale Jarrett, and Bobby Hillen, but they came back. Darrell Waltrip ran strong all day, but he had a problem near the end of the race. Ed Berry top him out the top 20 there.
Jimmy Hensley finishing 25th, Ned. He was the guy who wanted to win the championship. Patty Moise back in 30th. Jeff Burton in being involved in an accident. And, of course, these guys wanted to run well here. This is the last Super Speedway race, but not the last race of the year. They go to Martinsville, Virginia, of course, next week. The point standings going to Martinsville. Chuck Bown having won it all. Hensley in second spot in point standings. Labonte, Grissom, and then Kenny Wallace, the top 5. 6 through 10. Tom Peck, Tommy Ellis, L.D. Ottinger, close battle there. Rick Mast in 9th and Tommy Houston in 10th spot. A great afternoon of racing here, and that crew right there, Jeff and Hubert Hensley, the Nescafe Classic crew, a long year worth of work paying off for them as their driver, Chuck Bown, wins the championship. And the man who won the war today, Steve Grissom, just 27 years of age from Gaston, Alabama. Grissom getting the victory, his first on the Super Speedway. For Benny Parsons and Ned Jarrett, I'm Jerry Punch saying so long from Rockingham, and again, congratulations to the national champ.